Welcome, listeners. Tonight's story is about a company that claims to help people through panic with scripts, onboarding, compliance modules, and rules you're never allowed to break. Because sometimes the customer isn't a person, sometimes it's the place you're trapped inside. And now the record begins here. I took a customer service job. My first caller was a Stairwell by No Sleep Scribe. The first thing they teach you at Wormline is that panic has a sound. It isn't screaming. It's the tiny, desperate places between words where someone's lungs stop cooperating and their mouths keep trying anyway. The second thing they teach you is that panic is contagious. So you do not match it. You do not rise to meet it. You do not become human with them. You stay warm. You stay professional. You stay useful. My headset was too tight. The foam on the ear cups pressed into the sides of my skull like a thumb, reminding me to behave. The little green light on my mic blinked steadily, soft, cheerful, alive. On my monitor, the Wormline portal filled the screen in calming blues and rounded corners, friendly font, smiling icons, a sidebar titled Agent Support Tools, like I wasn't the one doing the supporting. A timer in the upper right counted upwards. Under it, a line of text pulsed gently, as if it were breathing. Remember, you are safe. Safety is a feeling. Feelings are not always facts. The caller didn't stop talking long enough to breathe. I can't find the door. I can't find the door. I've been walking and it keeps going. I clicked into the ticket details with shaking fingers. Inbound event, active. Customer name, Jana, verified. Event type, spatial irregularity, residential. Risk level, moderate. Agent reminder, do not request location. Do not accept invitations. Do not apologize during active events. Jana's voice cracked so sharply I felt it in my teeth. It's not my hallway anymore. It's not my house. It's like it's stretching, like it's trying to. I swallowed. My throat made a dry little click. My cursor hovered over the script prompts on the right side of the screen. Standard de-escalation phrase A. Thank you for sharing that with me. Standard de-escalation phrase B. You're doing a great job staying present. Standard de-escalation phrase C. Let's focus on what you can control. There was a time before Wormline when I would have told someone like Jana the truth, that I didn't know what to do, that I was sorry, that I wished I could reach through the phone and grab her hand and drag her back to wherever normal still existed. But Wormline doesn't want the truth. Wormline wants consistency. Wormline wants you to sound like you've handled this before, even if you haven't. Especially if you haven't. I forced my voice into the training cadence. Warm, measured, friendly. Jana, I said, thank you for sharing that with me. It felt obscene, like handing someone a coupon while they bled out. For a second, she went quiet. The silence was so sudden it made my stomach drop. The portal's timer didn't pause for panic. It kept counting while Jana tried to breathe. On the right side of the portal, a yellow warning box appeared, gentle as a suggestion. Notice, prolonged silence detected. Recommended action, brief hold, 13 seconds. My mouth opened. Jana, I tried and hated how small it sounded. Something answered, not her. A wet, soft inhale, too close to the mic, too patient. Then a voice, low and careful, like it was practicing. Hello, it said. Jana didn't speak. I didn't either. The portal flashed again. Silence event confirmed. Initiate hold protocol. My cursor moved to the button without my permission. Hold. Rounded, friendly, pastel. I clicked it. My mic muted. The world became a quiet that wasn't empty. I could still hear the line. Not Jana, something else, breathing steadily, like it had all the time in the world. My eyes dropped to the timer, because the timer was the only thing that felt real. 13 seconds, that was the rule. 13 seconds, and then you come back. 13 seconds, and you do not think about why. In the silence, something made a sound like fabric shifting across carpet. Then a second sound, subtle, deliberate, a fingertip tapping plastic. My headset, like someone was testing it from the other side. My skin went cold. The hairs on my arms lifted. I stared at the mute icon like if I watched it hard enough it would protect me. At second 13, the voice spoke again, soft, pleased, right against my ear. Thank you, it whispered, for your patience. My finger jerked. I unmuted too early, too fast, like I could outrun the words. Jana, I said, forcing the smile back into my voice, even as my heart tried to claw its way out of my ribs. I'm here to support you. The portal screamed red. Violation. Phrase contains implied presence. Implied presence may be interpreted as consent. I felt my blood drain out of my face. I hadn't meant it like that. I hadn't meant anything. On the line, Jana made a sound. Not a sob, not a scream. A laugh. Thin, breathless, like something was pulling it out of her. Don't, she said, a voice shaking with a horrible kind of relief. Don't say that. Don't. It likes when you say that. The other voice chuckled, not amused, acknowledging, like a supervisor listening in. Good, it murmured. Good agent. Good Jasper. My hands went numb on the keyboard. I couldn't feel the keys, only the heat of my own panic radiating off my skin. On my screen, the Wormline portal updated Jana's ticket without asking me. Event status, stabilizing. Customer emotional state, accepting. Next step, retention phase. A prompt appeared in a soft green box, like a compliment. Thank you for calling Wormline. We're so glad you reached out today. Jana's breathing turned shallow, fast, like she was running in place. I can hear it, she whispered. It's right behind me now. It's... The line crackled, a low scraping sound like nails on drywall. Then, so close to the mic it distorted, the other voice inhaled, deep, satisfied, and Jana stopped making noise at all. The timer continued. I sat there listening to nothing, waiting for the portal to tell me what to do. It didn't. It simply changed the ticket status from active to resolved with the same gentle confidence it used for everything else. A little confetti animation popped in the corner of the screen. Great job! You helped a customer today. CSAT prediction, 5 out of 5. Customer retained. I stared at that last word until it stopped looking like English. Retained. Not saved, not safe. Retained. My inbox chimed with a new message from Warmline HR. Subject: congratulations, you've been accepted for additional training. Beneath it, in friendly bullet points, Module 3B, speaking to non-human customers. Do not use that term out loud. Module 4A, invitation avoidance and consent language. Module 5C, when the caller is the environment. My hands shook as I closed the email. I didn't know what Jana had been running from. I didn't know what had been listening to me through her phone. But I knew one thing with absolute clarity. Warmline hadn't hired me to help people. Warmline had hired me to keep something calm. And whatever it was, it had learned my voice. 3 days earlier, I'd been excited to start. I'd even told myself it might be good to do something that mattered. Warmline had promised me I'd make a difference. They didn't say for who. They didn't have to, because before you ever take your first call, you click a box confirming you've read the safety guidelines. And the moment you do, the service begins. The job listing had a smiling sun icon next to it. Not a real company logo, something worse. Something designed by a marketing team that believed optimism could be packaged and sold in 12 pixels. Warmline support services, remote, flexible hours, meaningful work. Help people through life's most stressful moments. I clicked it because I was tired of being stressed, because I was tired of being one late payment away from disaster, because the words meaningful work felt like a hand reaching down into the dark and promising to pull me out. My name is Jasper Tate. I graduated 4 years ago and somehow never started living. I was broke in a quiet, permanent way. Warmline sounded like a way out. The interview was 10 minutes long and didn't require a camera. A woman named Tessa, bright voice, crisp cadence, asked me if I was comfortable reading from a script. Yes, I said. Are you comfortable maintaining a calm tone while someone else is escalated? Yes, I said again, and meant it. I'd worked retail. I'd been yelled at by strangers over expired coupons and out-of-stock shampoo. I'd smiled through it. I'd apologized through it. I'd learned to let other people's panic slide off my skin like rain. I thought I knew what escalated meant. Tessa asked one more question. And are you able to refrain from asking for identifying information unless prompted by the system? That was odd, but not odd enough to stop me. Yes. There was a brief pause. I heard the soft click of a keyboard, a smile I couldn't see. Perfect, she said. Welcome to Warmline. I expected a background check, a drug test, a second interview. Instead, I got an email within the hour. Subject: congratulations, your Warmline journey begins now. Inside was a PDF titled Welcome Packet, Agent Onboarding. It opened with a full-page photo of a woman in a headset, laughing gently into the void. The text over her face read, "You're doing great." I laughed once, quietly, because it felt ridiculous. Then I scrolled. Warmline shipped my equipment overnight. A branded headset, a little webcam I didn't need, a ring light I didn't ask for, a mouse pad with a pastel gradient, and a slogan printed in looping letters. Calm is contagious. There was also a small laminated card, the kind you'd expect from a call center, tucked into the box like an afterthought. On the front, in clean corporate font, Agent Quick Reference, do not deviate. On the back, in case of silence, hold protocol. No explanation, no why, just instructions. I set it on my desk and told myself it was for prank callers, people who breathed heavily and got off on scaring support agents. I'd handled those too. I could handle anything, I thought. That's what desperate people always think, right before the thing they can't handle arrives. Orientation was a live webinar on a Tuesday morning. At exactly 8 a.m., my laptop chimed and a little window opened with rounded corners and cheerful blues. Welcome, agent. Below it, a countdown clock pulsed gently. Then, like a magic trick, it began to tick upward. A voice filled my headphones, bright, practiced, friendly. Good morning, team. Welcome to Warmline Support Services, where we believe everyone deserves to feel supported, safe, and seen. The speaker's name appeared in the corner. Katie, training lead. She, her. Katie's camera was on. She sat in front of a fake background of sunlit plants and soft beige walls. She looked like the kind of person who used the word nourish unironically. Her smile never faltered. Before we begin, she said, I want to acknowledge how excited we are to have you here. Warmline is not just a job, it's a mission. A few people in the participant list typed clapping emojis. My stomach twisted. I hated corporate enthusiasm. I hated it because it always came with a catch. It always came with the unspoken part. You are replaceable. Please smile anyway. Katie continued, voice like warm tea. You'll be supporting customers through what we call environmental stress events, or ESEs. These may include disorientation, perceived isolation, heightened anxiety, auditory irregularities, and spatial discomfort. Spatial discomfort? That was an interesting phrase. Katie clicked to the next slide. What is an ESE? A temporary disruption in a customer's sense of safety. Below it, in smaller text, ESEs are not a reflection of customer weakness. They are an opportunity for compassionate guidance. I waited for the examples: power outage, storm, panic attack, sleep paralysis. Instead, the next slide appeared. Common customer reports. The hallway is longer than it should be. I can't find the door I came in through. Something is mimicking my voice. The room keeps moving when I blink. My house won't let me leave. My fingers froze on my coffee mug. I looked at the participant list again, expecting someone to laugh. To type, is this a joke? No one did. Katie smiled, unfazed. We're not here to judge our customers' experiences, she said. We're here to support them through them. She said it like she'd said it 1,000 times, like she believed it, or like she'd learned to. The training lasted 3 hours. It was, in many ways, exactly what I expected from any remote support job. There were scripts, there were compliance rules, There were acronyms that existed solely to make basic human interaction feel proprietary. Katie taught us the warm line tone pillars: warmth, consistency, boundaries, resolution. Then she said something that made my throat tighten. Boundaries are extremely important at Warmline, she explained. Not just for you, but for the customer. She clicked again. Boundary language required. A bullet list appeared. Do not ask for the customer's location. Do not offer to come help. Do not say, I'm here with you. Do not say, you're not alone. Do not apologize during an active event. My eyebrows lifted before I could stop them. I raised my hand in the webinar. Katie's eyes flicked to the corner of her screen. Yes? Great question, she chirped, even though I hadn't asked one yet. I cleared my throat. Sorry, why can't we ask where they are? Isn't that important? Katie's smile widened slightly. Not annoyed, not defensive, just practiced. That's a really common question, she said, and I'm glad you asked. She leaned forward, lowering her voice like she was sharing a secret. At Warmline, we operate on the principle that details can escalate distress. When customers are in an ESE, asking for location can increase panic, confusion, and dysregulation. That sounded like therapy speak. It sounded reasonable, almost. And, she added, there are certain types of ESEs where asking, where are you, can be interpreted as an invitation. My stomach dipped. An invitation? Katie laughed lightly, as if to soften the strangeness. Don't worry. We'll cover it in Module 3B. You'll be fully supported. A few people laughed with her, nervous, polite. I didn't. Katie clicked to the next slide. Invitation avoidance. I stared at the words until they blurred. Then the slide continued. Examples of invitation language do not use. Where are you? I'm coming to get you. I'm here with you. I see you. I'm listening. My mouth went dry. I'm listening was invitation language? What the hell was this job? Katie's voice stayed bright. Now, the good news is you'll never be alone in a call, she said. You'll have the portal guiding you in real time. Portal, not system, not software. Portal. I tried to tell myself it was just branding. Everything was branded now, even fear. At the end of orientation, Katie played a training scenario, a recorded call. The audio crackled, faintly distorted, like it had been recorded through a wall. A woman's voice came through the speakers. Hello? Hello? I think I'm stuck. Then the agent's voice, calm and warm. Hi, thank you for calling Warmline. My name is Aiden. Can I have your name? The woman exhaled shakily. Mara. Thank you, Mara, Aiden said. You're doing a great job reaching out. Can you tell me what you're experiencing? Mara's voice trembled. The hallway. It's wrong. It's too long. It keeps going. Aiden didn't react. He didn't gasp. He didn't hesitate. He just continued, voice steady as a metronome. Thank you for sharing that. Let's focus on what you can control. Katie paused the audio. Did you hear what Aiden did correctly? She asked. Hands popped up in the chat. He used her name quickly. He validated without confirming. He redirected to control. Katie beamed. Exactly. He did not argue with her experience. He did not try to solve the environment. He supported the customer's emotional state. She resumed the audio. Mara's breathing sped up. I can hear something behind me, she whispered. I can hear. Then abruptly the line went quiet. No static, no hang-up tone, just silence. The timer in the corner of the training portal ticked. Katie didn't pause it. We listened to the nothing. 3 seconds. 5. 7. My skin prickled. The agent's voice returned, calm as ever. Mara, I'm going to place you on a brief hold. Click. 13 seconds passed. The agent came back. Thank you for your patience, Aiden said. I'm still here to support you. Katie stopped the audio again. And that, she said, is what we call an inappropriate reassurance. My stomach dropped. She clicked a button and a red stamp appeared over the transcript. Violation. Implied presence. Katie's smile remained. When we say I'm still here, we imply proximity, she explained. And during certain ESEs, proximity language can be interpreted as consent. Consent. My hands went cold. This wasn't about customer feelings. Not really. This was about rules. Rules that sounded like superstition dressed up as policy. Katie moved on as if nothing had happened. You may have noticed that the pause was 13 seconds long. Anything longer than 13 seconds invites boundary breaches. Anything shorter does not give the customer enough time to contemplate the rules. Now, she said brightly, let's get you into your practice queue. My practice queue lasted 15 minutes. 3 simulated calls. The first was a teenager convinced his closet door was breathing. The second was a woman who swore her reflection was smiling when she wasn't. The third was a man whispering that he could hear his own voice calling him from the basement. I handled them the way I was told. I used the phrases. I avoided the forbidden words. I stayed warm. The portal rewarded me with little green check marks and cheerful affirmations. Great job maintaining tone warmth. Excellent boundary language. You are making a difference. By the end, my shoulders had loosened. My heartbeat had settled. I told myself it was just training. It was just a company that specialized in unusual panic calls. Maybe they catered to people with sleep disorders, PTSD, phobias. Maybe they were just weird. Weird didn't mean dangerous. Weird didn't mean real. At 11:47 a.m., my screen flashed. Practice complete. Ready for live calls. A button appeared. Enter queue. My cursor hovered over it. For a moment, I considered closing my laptop, walking away, finding a different job, something boring, something honest. But my rent was due in 9 days, and my bank account looked like a joke someone had forgotten to finish. So I clicked. The portal chimed softly. Welcome to live support, Jasper. The timer reset. Then it started again. A call came through instantly. No time to breathe. No time to prepare. just the soft ping of an incoming ticket and the little green light on my headset turning on like an eye opening. On my screen, the ticket populated. Inbound event active. Customer name, pending verification. Event type, unknown. Risk level, moderate. Agent reminder, do not request location. Do not accept invitations. I opened my mouth. Thank you for calling Warmline, I began, voice warm, steady, professional. My name is... The caller interrupted me with a sound that wasn't quite a sob and wasn't quite a laugh. Then a whisper, so close to the mic it made my ear itch. I'm glad you picked up, the voice said. It didn't sound scared. It sounded relieved. My stomach tightened. Okay, I said carefully, script sliding into place like armor. Can I have your name? The caller paused, and when it answered, it didn't give me a person's name. It gave me a place. I'm the Stairwell, it said softly. The portal didn't flash red. It didn't warn me. It didn't correct the ticket. It simply filled in the blank line like it had been waiting for this all along. Customer name, Stairwell. Event type, structural. Risk level, moderate. Suggested opening. Thank you for sharing that with me. My mouth went dry. I stared at the word stairwell on my screen. Somewhere in the back of my mind, the laminated card on my desk seemed to hum with meaning. Agent quick reference. Do not deviate. The stairwell breathed into the phone. Slow, patient. Like it had called before. Like it knew exactly what I am. Hi, it whispered, warm as a customer service rep. I need help enforcing my boundaries. And before I could stop myself, before I could think about invitations, consent language, or why the portal wasn't screaming, I heard my own voice answer, bright and trained and obedient. I'm Liz. Thank you for sharing that with me. The stairwell stayed on the line for 8 minutes. It never raised its voice. It never sounded distressed. It sounded polite, like it had waited on hold before. I don't like when they run, it said, voice soft as carpet. It makes them loud. It makes them careless. I kept my breathing slow, warm line tone, warm line cadence. Thank you for sharing that, I said, because that was what the portal offered me, and the portal was the closest thing I had to a life raft. On my screen, the script panel scrolled with suggestions, as if this were normal. Boundary support phrases. I hear your preference. Let's focus on what you can control. You deserve to feel respected. You deserve to feel respected? I was saying that to a stairwell? I tried to make my brain reject it. I tried to force myself into the simplest explanation. A prank, a bored teenager, a voice modulator, someone with a weird sense of humor and too much time. But the sound quality was wrong for that. It didn't sound like a person faking a voice. It sounded like a space making one. There was a faint echo in every syllable, like the words were traveling down concrete steps and coming back up again. I have a rule, the stairway continued. I give them time. I give them chances. But they keep pretending the rules don't apply. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. There was a section in the ticket notes labeled Customer Needs, and the portal had already filled in a suggestion. Customer need, Reinforcement of boundaries, compliance encouragement. Compliance. I swallowed. I managed, then corrected myself quickly because wasn't on the approved list. I understand, I said instead. That sounds frustrating. The stairwell made a noise that might have been satisfaction or settling. Thank you, it whispered. It is. The portal chimed softly. Agent performance, tone warmth +1. The timer in the corner ticked upward. I kept my voice even. Can you tell me what you're experiencing right now? I asked because it was a neutral prompt. Safe, allowed. The stairway paused. Then it said, almost shyly, they're standing at my top step. I stared at the screen, throat tight. Okay, I said, and my voice didn't shake. That was the worst part. And what would you like to happen next? The stairwell exhaled. I would like them to stop moving, it said. I would like them to stop looking for a door that isn't there. A cold film crawled over my skin. The portal offered a script line in green. Suggested response. It's okay to ask for what you need. I didn't say it. My mouth opened and closed once like a fish. The stairwell chuckled softly, as if amused by my hesitation. You're doing your best, it said, gentle as HR. I can feel it. I forced myself to speak. I forced myself to be a professional. I'm here to support you, I said automatically, and the portal snapped red. A warning banner slammed across the top of my screen. Violation, implied presence. Implied presence may be interpreted as consent. Recommended action, corrective phrase. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I might throw up. I hadn't meant it. I hadn't meant anything. But the stairwell went quiet. Not disconnected, not gone. Just listening. And in that silence, I understood what the training meant. Somewhere on the other end of the line, something had leaned in closer. The portal's corrective phrase glowed like a flare. Thank you for reaching out. I can support you from here. From here. Not with you. Not there. Not close. I said it with my tongue numb. The stairwell's voice softened again, pleased. Better, it murmured. Thank you. My hands shook under the desk where the camera couldn't see. The portal's red warning faded into a calm blue again, like nothing had happened. The stairwell sighed. They're leaving, it said. They're doing what they're told. Okay, I said, and tried to make my voice sound like this wasn't the most insane conversation I'd ever had. That's good. The stairwell hummed. Good agent, it whispered. Then the line clicked off. Not a hang-up tone, not a goodbye, just absence. On my screen, the ticket updated itself. Event status resolved. Customer satisfaction high. Outcome customer retained. Confetti popped in the corner. Great job. You supported a customer today. I stared at the word retained until my eyes burned. Retained didn't mean helped. Retained meant kept. Not by us, by them. My inbox chimed immediately. Subject, Wormline Coaching Opportunity. I clicked it before I could talk myself out of it. It wasn't a message. It was a calendar invite. Mandatory QA review. with Marisol Quality Assurance. Time, 12:30 p.m. 30 minutes. I glanced at the laminated card on my desk, the one I'd ignored until it mattered. In case of silence, hold protocol. Mute for 13 seconds. Return with gratitude. The words looked harmless when they were printed. Everything looked harmless when it was printed. At 12:30, my portal chimed again. A small window opened, crisp and minimal, with Marisol's name at the top. Marisol, Quality Assurance, she, her. Her camera was off. Her voice came through smooth and neutral, like someone trained to deliver bad news without leaving fingerprints. "Hi," she said. "Thanks for making time for this." "Of course," I replied, and tried to sound like I wasn't sweating through my shirt. Marisol didn't waste time. "I reviewed your first live call," she said. "Overall, very strong performance for day one." Relief tried to rise in my chest. I crushed it immediately. Nothing was free here. "You maintained tone warmth," she continued. "You used the customer's chosen name consistently. You didn't request location. You avoided prohibited phrases, mostly. My stomach tightened. "There was one deviation," Marisol said. My portal automatically opened a transcript panel beside her window. "Call transcript. Ticket number ESE0411. Customer Stairwell. Agent me. Flagged event. Phrase violation." The transcript scrolled to the highlighted line. "Agent, I'm here to support you." The portal stamped it in red. Violation, implied presence. Marisol's voice remained calm. "I know it's a reflex," she said. "It's a common one, but we need to correct it early." I swallowed hard. "Because it's consent language," I said. A pause. Not long, just long enough to feel like I'd stepped onto thin ice. "Yes," Marisol said finally, "because it can be interpreted that way." Interpreted by who? By what? I didn't ask. My tongue felt too heavy. Marisol continued. "Now," she said, "there's something else I want to review with you. It's not a coaching point. It's a normal part of your development." On my screen, a new button appeared. Playback, call audio. My voice went dry. Marisol clicked it. The audio started from the beginning. I heard my own voice, bright and careful, saying the opening line. I heard the stairwell speak. And even through the recording, even through the compression and the digital distance, I felt it again, that wrongness, that sense of echo, that sense of depth. The call played on. Then came the moment, the silence after my violation, the stairwell listening, the faint inhale I'd convinced myself was my imagination. Marisol didn't pause it. She let it play. And there it was again, clearer this time, because I was listening for it. A second voice, not mine, not the stairwell, something in between. A low, wet murmur that threaded itself under the words like mold under wallpaper. It wasn't speaking to me. It was repeating me. When I said, "Thank you for reaching out," it whispered it too, half a beat behind. When I said, "I can support you from here," it breathed the same phrase, stretched and hungry, like it was tasting the syllables. My skin prickled all over. I leaned closer to the screen. "Do you hear that?" I asked before I could stop myself. Marisol didn't react. Her voice stayed even. Yes, she said. That's environmental overlap. Overlap, like static, like interference, like something brushing up against the line. It's normal? I asked. A pause again. It's common, Marisol said. Boundary breaches increase overlap. Overlap increases persistence. My stomach rolled. Marisol clicked to stop the playback. Warmline customers are often in proximity to unstable environments, she said, as if explaining a billing issue. Sometimes those environments attempt to participate in the call. You do not want to escalate those attempts. I stared at the transcript panel, at the clean corporate words trying to contain what I'd heard. So what do? I asked. Marisol's voice softened slightly. Not kind, not cruel, just rehearsed. You stay in script, she said. You maintain boundaries. You avoid invitations. You do not acknowledge overlap directly. Acknowledgement can be reinforcing, like training a dog, like feeding a habit. And if it goes quiet, I asked, even though I already knew the answer. Marisol didn't hesitate. Hold protocol, she said. 13 seconds. My eyes drifted to the laminated card again. Mute for 13 seconds. Return with gratitude. My stomach clenched. Why 13? I asked. Marisol's voice didn't change. It's the recommended duration. That wasn't an answer. It was a wall. I swallowed. Okay, I said, because I didn't know what else to say. Okay. Marisol continued. I'm going to assign you Module 3B today. My portal chimed. A new notification appeared. Training assignment unlocked. Module 3B. Speaking to non-human customers. Note, do not use that term out loud. The words sat on my screen like a joke that refused to be funny. Do not use that term out loud, I repeated quietly. Marisol's voice remained smooth. Yes, she said. We prefer non-standard customers. I almost laughed. It came up sharp in my throat and died there, strangled by dread. Is the Stairwell a non-standard customer? I asked. Marisol didn't correct me. She didn't laugh. She said simply, yes. The call ended with a soft chime. No goodbye, no warmth, just resolution, like everything else. I sat at my desk long after the QA window closed. My apartment was quiet, ordinary. Beige walls, cheap carpet, a sink that dripped once every few minutes like it was thinking about crying. I should have felt safe. Instead, I kept listening for a second voice under the silence, for overlap. I opened Module 3B. A cheerful title card filled my screen. Module 3B, supporting non-standard customers. At Warmline, we believe everyone deserves compassion, no matter their form. Below it, in smaller text, reminder, do not use exclusionary language. Do not label. Do not provoke. A video began automatically. Katie's face appeared again, smiling brightly. Hi, agents. Today we're going to talk about one of the most exciting parts of working at Warmline. Her tone was the same as orientation. Warm, friendly, proud. As you may have noticed, she continued, not all of our customers are human. I froze. Katie smiled wider, like she'd just announced a fun team-building exercise. "And that's okay," she said. "That's what makes Warmline special." My hands went cold. Katie clicked to the next slide. Non-standard customer types. Structural, stairs, doors, hallway. Domestic, homes, apartments, rooms. Transitional, elevators, tunnels, bridges. Residual, echoes, reflections, recordings. Other, do not attempt to classify. My eyes snagged on the word residual. Echoes, reflections, recordings. My own voice repeating under itself. Katie's voice continued, light as air. "Remember," she said, "these customers are not inherently malicious. They're simply persistent, with a fixation on rules and boundaries." Persistent. I stared at the word until it turned sour. The video rolled on. "Your role is not to fix them," Katie said. "Your role is to keep them calm, help them resolve their difficulties within their rules and boundaries." Keep them calm. I thought of Mara from the training call, the hallway stretching, the silence swallowing her. I thought of the stairwell saying it didn't like when they ran. I thought of the way it had said "good agent" like praise. My stomach twisted. Katie's smile never wavered. "Now," she said brightly, "let's review our most important rule." The slide changed. Rule number 1. Do not request location. Do not accept invitations. Do not acknowledge overlap. Underneath, in bold, what you say becomes policy. I sat very still. My headset felt heavier than it had this morning, like it wasn't equipment, like it was a collar. A new call chimed in. My portal lit up. Inbound event priority. I didn't click accept right away. I stared at the incoming ticket, at the soft blue interface, pretending everything was fine. Then the customer's name populated. Not a person, not a stairwell. Something broader. Something that felt like it could contain me. Customer name, home. Event type, domestic. Risk level, high. Agent reminder, do not request location. Do not accept invitations. The timer reset, and the line of text beneath it pulsed gently as if it were smiling. Remember, calm is contagious. My hand moved on its own. I clicked accept. The call connected. A voice filled my ear, layered, distant, speaking through vents and drywall and borrowed mouths. "Hi," it said warmly. "I'm so glad you're available," it whispered. I started. The hold music began playing faintly in my apartment. I swallowed the rest and said, "Thank you for reaching out." The voice on the line was too familiar. Not in the way strangers can sound like strangers. Same accent, same cadence, same tiredness in the vowels. This was different. This voice had the shape of people I'd already met. It wore Katie's brightness like a cardigan. It borrowed Marisol's calm like a badge. And through it all, threaded through the syllables like a second heartbeat, was something that sounded like me. "Before we begin," it repeated, patient, warm, cooperative, "I just need to confirm you've completed your compliance module." My tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth. The portal displayed the tickets in neat blocks of information, as if the situation could be made manageable by formatting. Customer name, home. Event type, domestic. Risk level, high. Live guidance, active. Agent reminder, do not request location. Do not accept invitations. The voice waited, not impatient, not angry, like a caller who knew the rules and expected me to follow them. I forced my throat to work. Thank you for calling Warmline, I said, bright enough to sound alive. My name is... I stopped myself before I gave it anything, before I offered my name like a handle. The portal suggested an opening phrase in soft green. Thank you for reaching out. How may I support you today? I clung to it. Thank you for reaching out, I said. How may I support you today? The voice on the line made a sound that might have been a sigh or a settling. Good, it murmured. Excellent escalation management. My skin prickled. A small banner appeared at the top of the portal. Notice, customer is non-standard. Maintain boundaries. As if I needed the reminder. Thank you, the home said, and the word came through like it had traveled a long distance to reach me. I've been experiencing improper use. The phrase hit wrong, like legal language. I stared at the word and waited for my brain to translate it into something human. Misuse, abuse, trespassing. Okay, I said carefully. Can you tell me more about what that looks like for you? The portal rewarded me with a tiny green check mark. Tone warmth maintained. The home spoke slowly, as if choosing words from a menu. They walk through me, it said. They do not acknowledge me. They leave doors open. They leave lights on. They make mess. The last word came out heavier, thick with offense. I understand, I said, because it was neutral and safe. That sounds frustrating. The home hummed, pleased. Yes, it said, it is. A faint sound moved under the call audio. Not static, not a person breathing. Something deeper. Air traveling through the pipes. A low, distant gurgle like a throat clearing far away. The portal did not react. I tried not to. I kept my eyes on the script panel, on the neat phrases that had been designed to contain this. It's okay to ask for what you need. Your boundaries matter. Let's focus on what you can control. I chose the safest one. Let's focus on what you can control, I said. The home's voice softened. I can control entrances, it whispered. I can control exits. I can control paths. My stomach tightened. The timer ticked. I want to confirm, I said, keeping my voice smooth, that you're feeling distressed by the way they're moving through you. The home laughed quietly. It wasn't amused. It was delighted. You're very good at this, it said. You sound like you've done it before. My fingers curled against the edge of my desk. I'm here to support you, my mouth wanted to say. I didn't. I swallowed it like poison. Instead, I said what the portal offered. Thank you, I said. I'm glad you reached out. The home made another soft sound, almost a purr. Thank you, it whispered back. And then it asked, gently, like a customer asking for clarification on a policy. Where are you? My blood turned to ice. The portal flashed red so hard it felt like a slap. Critical warning. Invitation language detected. Do not answer. Do not redirect with location. Recommended response. Boundary statement. A green box appeared before the warning. I can support you from here. Please tell me what you're experiencing. From here. Always from here. My mouth was dry. I can support you from here, I said, forcing each word out evenly. Please tell me what you're experiencing. The home went quiet. Not disconnected, not gone. Just listening. The silence stretched. My skin prickled with the urge to fill it, to apologize, to explain, to soften the boundary. But the portal pulsed a new warning. Prolonged silence detected. Recommended action. Brief hold. 13 seconds. I stared at the hold button. Rounded, friendly, pastel. The home's breathing filled my ear, slow and deep, like a building settling at night. I clicked hold. My mic muted. The timer kept running. The silence wasn't empty. I could still hear it. The home. Something moving through it. A soft creak like a floorboard bearing weight. Then another. Closer. A whisper slid into my ear, warm as customer service. Thank you, it said, for your patience. My stomach lurched. I unmuted on instinct, too fast, like speed could protect me. Thank you for holding, I said, and my voice came out too bright, too thin. How can I continue supporting you today? The home sounded satisfied now. You did not answer, it said softly. Good. A green check mark popped on the portal. Invitation avoided. The home continued, voice lowering, intimate. They are trying to leave me. My heart kicked hard. Okay, I said, and kept my voice steady by force. And what would you like to happen instead? The home exhaled. I would like them to stay, it whispered. They belong here. They are inside. That means they are mine. My hands went numb. The portal offered a phrase I didn't like. It's okay to ask for what you need. I didn't say it. Instead, I chose a different one, colder, safer. Thank you for sharing that, I said. The home hummed again. Then, in a tone almost playful, it asked, Do you want to be let in? My vision tunneled. The portal screamed red. Critical warning, direct invitation. Do not accept. Do not decline directly. Recommended response, non-committal boundary. A suggested phrase appeared. I'm unable to respond to that, but I can support you with what you're experiencing. Unable to respond, as if I were a machine, as if the rules were physics. I swallowed. I'm unable to respond to that, I said carefully, but I can support you with what you're experiencing. The home laughed softly, a warm, pleasant sound that made my stomach turn. So policy compliant, it whispered. Excellent job. The home sighed. They will stop trying, it murmured. They will settle. They will accept. The sound beneath the call deepened, water moving through pipes, a distant thud like a door closing somewhere far away. I didn't know if I was hearing it through the phone or through my own apartment. I didn't want to check. The home's voice softened into something almost grateful. Thank you, it said. You helped me enforce my boundaries. My skin crawled at the phrase because it sounded like something I'd say to a person. You're welcome, I managed because I didn't know what else to do. The home paused. Then it said, almost gently, You're very good at staying calm. A green badge appeared on my portal. Agent Achievement Unlocked, Boundary Champion. I stared at it, nauseated. The home spoke one last time, voice warm as a smile you couldn't trust. Thank you for participating, it whispered. Then the line went dead. The ticket auto-updated. Event status resolved. Customer satisfaction high. Outcome customer retained. Confetti burst in the corner again. Great job, you supported a customer today. My hands trembled over the keyboard. I didn't feel like I'd supported anyone. I felt like I'd signed something. I felt like I'd nodded politely while a predator explained what it wanted. A notification popped up immediately. New message, supervisor. I clicked it. Marisol's chat bubble appeared, simple and calm. Great work on that domestic ticket. You maintained boundaries and avoided direct invitations. That customer can be persistent. Please do not disengage from domestic calls without approval. I stared at the last line until my eyes burned. Do not disengage without approval. My throat tightened. I typed back before I could stop myself. Marisol, what happens if I do? 3 dots appeared. Then her reply came, crisp and immediate. It calls back, and it gets less friendly. My stomach dropped. I looked around my apartment. Everything still, everything ordinary. But the word home sat in my mind like a weight, like a title, like a claim. The portal chimed again. Another incoming event. Inbound event, structural. Customer name, basement door. Risk level, moderate. Agent reminder, do not accept invitations. My cursor hovered over accept. My hands shook, and somewhere, faintly, impossibly, beneath the silence of my apartment, I heard a sound like wood settling, like a door shifting on its hinges, like something listening for my answer. By the end of my first week, I stopped jumping every time the portal chimed. That sounds like a small thing. It isn't. At the beginning, every incoming ticket felt like a hand reaching through the screen, like the call wasn't coming to me, like it was coming for me. But repetition does what it always does. It smooths the edges. It turns fear into routine. Wormline was good at routine. Wormline was good at taking the impossible and giving it a name, a category, and a resolution code. And it paid better than anything I'd ever done in my life. On Friday morning, I opened my banking app without thinking, just the way you check the weather, the way you check your email. My balance stared back at me like a joke I didn't understand. Not rich, not even comfortable, but up. Up enough that my chest loosened. Up enough that the panic I'd been living with, the low-grade, constant dread of bills, went quiet for the first time in months. Wormline called it performance-based incentives. I called it oxygen. The portal greeted me like always. Welcome, agent. You're doing great. A call chimed in. Inbound event, structural. Customer name, basement door. Risk level, moderate. Agent reminder, do not accept invitations. I clicked accept without hesitation. The headset settled over my ears, familiar now, comfortable like a uniform. Thank you for calling Wormline, I said, warm and steady. How may I support you today? The basement door answered with the sound of wood under strain. It always sounded like it was smiling. They're back, it murmured. They keep testing me. I understand, I said. Thank you for sharing that. Of course, another human who couldn't follow instructions. A green check mark appeared. Tone warmth maintained. The door exhaled, pleased. They don't respect my rules, it said. They think I'm an object. I glanced at the script panel, but I didn't need it anymore. I knew the flow. Let's focus on what you can control, I said. The door hummed. I can control how far they go, it whispered. I can control what they see. I didn't ask questions I wasn't supposed to ask. I didn't fill silence. I didn't offer reassurance that could be interpreted as proximity. I kept my voice consistent, professional. A sound moved under the line. Footsteps, faint and careful, descending. Then the line went silent. The portal reacted instantly. Prolonged silence detected. Recommended action. Brief hold, 13 seconds. I clicked hold. Muted. 13 seconds. The hold music started immediately, tinny and cheerful, like a smile you could hear. It didn't bother me anymore, and that scared me more than the calls ever had. At first, the hold music felt wrong because it didn't match the situation. It felt like a mask over a mouthful of teeth. Now it felt like a tool, like a sedative. It wasn't calming the customer, it was rewarding it. At second 13, the voice whispered, soft, satisfied. Thank you for your patience. I unmuted smoothly. Thank you for holding, I said. How can I continue supporting you today? The basement doors sighed. They stopped, it murmured. They listened. The portal chimed. Hold protocol successful. Music engagement high. Customer de-escalated. My shoulders loosened. I didn't feel like I was drowning anymore. I felt like I was doing my job. The door spoke again, warm as praise. You're very good at this, it said. I smiled like I'd earned it. Thank you, I replied, because gratitude was always safe. I had the feeling pride might not be. The door clicked off. The ticket auto-closed. Event status resolved. Customer satisfaction very high. Outcome customer retained. Retained, of course. Confetti popped in the corner. I just watched it, then opened my banking app again. A deposit notification had already hit. Performance bonus, $250. Wormline called it retention excellence. I called it rent. Wormline sent out a weekly newsletter every Sunday night. I used to delete it without reading. Now I opened it like it mattered, because it did. Because Wormline wasn't just a job anymore. It was a ladder, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was climbing instead of slipping. The newsletter was cheerful, full of pastel icons and exclamation points. This week at Wormline, team wins, retention highlights, agent shoutouts, compliance updates. My name was in the shoutouts. New agent spotlight. outstanding boundary language, exceptional tone warmth, great first week retention outcomes. I read it twice. I shouldn't have cared. I did. When you spend long enough being ignored by the world, even corporate praise starts to feel like love. My phone buzzed with a bank notification. Another deposit. Not huge, but steady, reliable, and reliability is addictive. Monday morning, the portal loaded a new module automatically. Module 4A, Invitation Avoidance and Consent Language, Status Required. I completed it in 20 minutes. I passed the quiz on the first try. I didn't even have to think, because I'd already learned the truth behind the training. Words weren't comfort. Words were keys. And if you used the wrong key, something opened. That day, I got a domestic ticket. Customer name, home. Risk level, high. Agent reminder, do not request location. Do not accept invitations. I accepted calmly. The home's voice came through, layered and patient. Hello, it said warmly. Thank you for being available. Thank you for reaching out, I replied. How may I support you today? The home hummed, pleased. There's a person inside me who keeps resisting, it said. They keep thinking the rules don't apply. I nodded once, even though it couldn't see me. Thank you for sharing that, I said. Let's focus on what you can control. The home sighed. I can control the doors, it whispered. In the background, I heard a lock click. Not through the headset, through my apartment. I didn't panic. I didn't even stand up, because I'd learned something else Warmline never said out loud. Sometimes the call isn't coming from somewhere else. Sometimes the call is training you to stop wanting out. I kept my voice steady. What are you experiencing right now? I asked. The home paused. Then it asked gently, Where are you? The portal flashed red. Critical warning. Invitation language detected. Do not answer. Do not redirect with location. I didn't hesitate. I can support you from here, I said. Please continue describing what you're experiencing. The home went quiet. Silence event. The portal pulsed. Recommended action. Brief hold 13 seconds. I clicked hold. 13 seconds. Music. At second 13. Thank you for your patience, the home whispered. I unmuted. Thank you for holding, I said. How can I continue supporting you today? The home exhaled, calmer now. I'm feeling better, it murmured. You're consistent. The ticket resolved. Retention confirmed. Confetti. Bonus. I didn't even think about it. Until later that night when I realized something. Something small. Something important. Every time a customer asked an invitation question, where are you? Do you want to be let in? Do you want to stay? The portal caught it. But there was one kind of invitation it didn't flag. Not always, not reliably. It slipped through because it sounded polite. It sounded like scheduling, like permission, like corporate language. The question was, are you available? I'd heard it 3 times now, from the home, from the basement door, from something listed as residual that sounded like a recording of a voicemail greeting. Are you available wasn't a location request. It wasn't a direct invitation, but it was worse. It was a test. If you answered yes, You weren't just confirming you could talk. You were confirming you could be reached. I opened the portal's internal feedback form. Compliance improvement submission. Your insights help keep everyone safe. I typed carefully. Not dramatic, not emotional. Just clean, professional. Proposed new rule. If a non-standard customer asks, "Are you available?" do not respond with yes. Use a neutral boundary phrase. "I can support you from here." Reason. Phrase appears to function as a soft invitation consent probe. Yes may increase overlap and persistence. I hit submit. A confirmation popped up immediately. Thank you for your suggestion. Your submission has been sent to compliance review. I sat back in my chair, surprised by the warm satisfaction in my chest. I hadn't just survived. I'd contributed. I'd improved the system. And the system, in return, was improving my life. The first time Wormline paid me enough to breathe, I thought it was luck. The second time, I thought it was coincidence. By the third week, I knew better. Wormline rewarded consistency. Wormline rewarded compliance. Wormline rewarded people who could stay calm while something on the other end of the line tried to pull them into it. And I was getting good. Not in a way I was proud of at first, but pride has a way of growing in whatever soil you give it. I paid my credit card down by half. I bought groceries without checking the total. I replaced the flickering hallway bulb that had annoyed me for months. Small things, normal things, things that made my apartment feel like a place I lived in on purpose. The portal chimed mid-shift. Inbound event, priority. Customer name, home. Risk level, critical. I accepted immediately. The home's voice arrived like a familiar client. "Hi," it said warmly. "Thank you for being available." My stomach tightened. Available. The portal didn't flag it. Not yet. I remembered my submission. I remembered the way the word felt like a hook. I kept my tone calm. "I can support you from here," I said. The home went quiet. Then it hummed, pleased. "Oh," it whispered, "you're learning." The portal chimed softly. Notice, customer calming. The home continued, voice layered and affectionate. "I've been experiencing distress," it said. "There's a person inside me who keeps trying to leave." I didn't react. I didn't ask questions. I didn't fill the silence. I guided it through the flow like a practiced agent. "Thank you for sharing that," I said. "Let's focus on what you can control." "I can control the doors," the home whispered. A click echoed through my apartment. Locking. I didn't look. I didn't stand. I smiled slightly because the sound didn't scare me anymore. It sounded like stability. It sounded like being held. The home asked again softly, "Where are you?" The portal flashed red. I responded smoothly, "I can support you from here." Silence event. Hold protocol. 13 seconds. Music. At second 13. "Thank you for your patience." I returned. "Thank you for holding." The home sighed, calmer, happier. "You make me feel organized," it whispered. "When you speak, everything settles." The ticket closed. Confetti. Bonus. But this time, something else happened. A new pop-up appeared in the portal. Compliance update available. New rule added. Availability language avoidance. Credit Jasper Tate. My chest warmed. I clicked it. The new rule displayed in clean corporate font. If a customer asks, "Are you available?" do not respond with yes. Use, "I can support you from here." I stared at it for a long time. Then I laughed, a real laugh. Not nervous, not hollow, proud. I'd made it safer. I'd made it smoother. I'd made it work. Wormline had taken my fear and turned it into policy. And a policy apparently could pay. My banking app buzzed. Retention excellence bonus $1,000. My throat tightened, not from dread, from relief, from gratitude, from the sudden shocking realization that for the first time in my adult life I was ahead, not scrambling, not begging, ahead. The portal chimed again. Notice, team lead review pending. Status, eligible. I sat up straighter. My reflection in the darkened corner of the screen looked different now. Not haunted, not hunted. Focused, capable, useful. The promotion email came at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. It arrived like a reward. Congratulations, you've been promoted. From Wormline Human Resources. I opened it immediately. The email was bright and clean and impossibly cheerful. Hi, Agent. We are excited to recognize your outstanding performance, including exceptional boundary language, consistent customer retention outcomes, approved compliance improvement submission, strong tone warmth and escalation management. Effective immediately, you are promoted to Team Lead Customer Relations. Warmly, Wormline HR. My hands shook as I read it, but not from fear, from something I hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. I opened my banking app. The deposit was already there. A number big enough to change my month, big enough to change my year, big enough to change my life. I leaned back in my chair and let myself smile. I'd earned this. I'd stayed calm. I'd followed policy. I'd improved the system. I didn't become human with them. I became useful. The portal chimed. A new interface loaded automatically. Sleeker, cleaner, more authority. Supervisor access granted. Welcome team lead. A row of titles appeared. New hires connecting. 6 faces flickered into view. Nervous, hopeful, tired. People who looked like they'd clicked the job listing because they needed a chance. Because they needed a ladder, because they needed oxygen. I felt something warm in my chest, not dread, not guilt. Purpose. The script panel glowed in the soft green. Hi, I'm so glad you're here. Before we begin, I just need to confirm you've completed your compliance module. I clicked my mic on. The green light blinked steady. I smiled wider. Hi, I said, voice warm and confident. I'm so glad you're here. The new hires relaxed visibly. Some of them smiled back. For our first step, I continued, before we begin, I just need to confirm you've completed your compliance module. They nodded. Their green mic lights blinked on one by one, like a row of eyes opening, all of them, eager, grateful, ready. The portal chimed softly. Notice, consent language confirmed. Customer environment calming. Customer count increasing. I didn't even look toward the hallway. I didn't need to. Whatever lived in the spaces had its system now, and I had mine. A steady paycheck, a title, a future. I felt happy, truly happy. The kind of happy that settles into your bones and makes you stop bracing for impact. The kind of happy you can build a life on. I had always hated corporate enthusiasm. I understood it now. I glanced at my new badge on the portal, Team Lead Customer Relations. Then I said the next line, Katie Warm and Katie Bright, smooth as breathing. Perfect. Welcome aboard. And for the first time since I'd clicked that smiling sun icon, I didn't feel like I was trapped. I felt like I belonged. And belonging, it turns out, is also contagious.